She wanted my support, but not my opinion or decisions. I listened without interrupting. Then I shifted focus to career, health, and financial independence, discovering how peace appears when you stop over-explaining your worth. I'm not asking you to solve it. I'm asking you to just listen. Those were the exact words she said to me on a Tuesday night, while I was mid-sentence trying to help her with a work situation she'd been venting about for 40 minutes. I stopped talking. She looked at me like I'd just passed some kind of test. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 31, been with Rachel for 4 years, living together for 2. This wasn't the first time I'd heard some version of that line. You always try to fix everything, she continued, her voice softer now. Sometimes I just need you to be there, you know? Not to tell me what I should do. I nodded. What else was I supposed to do? She smiled, kissed my cheek, and went back to scrolling on her phone. I sat there on our couch, feeling like I'd just been asked to play a game where the rules kept changing and nobody bothered to write them down. The thing is, I genuinely thought I was being supportive. When she complained about her boss undermining her in meetings, I suggested she document everything and escalate to HR. When she was stressed about her sister borrowing money and never paying it back, I offered to help her set boundaries. When she felt overwhelmed with wedding planning, yeah, we were engaged, I volunteered to take over the vendor calls and budget spreadsheets. Every single time, I got the same response. You're not listening. You're trying to control things. I just need you to support me. So I learned to shut up. I'd sit there, make eye contact, nod at the right moments, throw in an occasional, that sounds really hard, or I'm here for you. It worked. She seemed happier. I felt like a well-trained robot. Then one night, about 3 months after I'd adopted this new strategy, Rachel came home furious. Her boss had passed her over for a promotion she'd been promised. She threw her bag on the counter, kicked off her heels, and started pacing. He gave it to Trevor. Trevor, the guy who shows up late half the time and takes credit for everyone else's work. I sat at the kitchen table, staying quiet. I've been there 6 years. 6 years. And what do I get? Nothing. Just empty promises and pats on the head, like I'm some kind of intern. She was looking at me now, waiting. I nodded. That's really unfair. It is unfair. It's completely, she stopped. That's all you're going to say? I blinked. I'm listening. You said you just needed me to listen. Yeah, but this is different. This is serious. Okay, I said carefully. What do you want me to say? She threw her hands up. I don't know. Maybe tell me what you think I should do. I felt like I'd just stepped on a landmine. Are you sure? Because last time I tried to. Forget last time. I'm asking you now. I took a breath. All right. I think you should start looking for other jobs. Update your resume. Reach out to recruiters. See what else is out there. If they're not valuing you there, someone else will. She stared at me. That's your advice? Just leave. I mean, yeah. If they're not promoting you after 6 years, they're probably not going to. You deserve better. Her face changed. Not angry exactly. Disappointed. You know what? Never mind. I shouldn't have asked. She walked into the bedroom and closed the door. I sat there, completely lost. I'd done exactly what she asked, and somehow it was still wrong. This became the pattern. She'd vent. I'd listen silently. She'd get frustrated that I wasn't engaged enough. She'd ask for my opinion. I'd give it. She'd get upset that I wasn't just supporting her. I started to feel like I was failing a test I hadn't studied for, in a subject I didn't know existed. The wedding planning made it worse. Rachel had very specific ideas about everything. The venue, the flowers, the color scheme, the seating chart. I was fine with all of it. But whenever I agreed with her choices, she'd accuse me of not caring. You're just saying yes to everything, she said one Saturday while we were looking at cake samples. Because I trust your taste, I replied. And honestly, I'm happy with whatever you pick. That's the problem. You don't have an opinion about anything. You literally told me 3 weeks ago that I was being too controlling about the timeline. She set down her fork. This is different. How? It just is. The baker stood there awkwardly, pretending to reorganize her portfolio. We left without ordering a cake. That night, I tried to talk to her about it. Rachel, I feel like I can't win here. You tell me you want support, not solutions. Then you get upset when I don't offer solutions. I'm confused about what you actually need from me. She was sitting on the bed, arms crossed. I need you to care. I do care. Then act like it. Be present. Stop being so passive about everything. I'm not passive. I'm trying to respect your boundaries. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You know what? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you respect my boundaries too much. Maybe I want someone who'll push back sometimes, who'll challenge me, who'll actually engage instead of just nodding like a therapist. I felt something shift in my chest. So you want me to argue with you? No. I want you to care enough to have your own opinions and stick to them. I do have opinions. You just don't like them when I share them. She looked away. I'm tired. Can we not do this tonight? I wanted to push the conversation further, but I was exhausted too. Not just physically, emotionally. I was tired of walking on eggshells. Tired of second-guessing every word. Tired of feeling like I was constantly failing someone else's invisible standards. I slept on the couch that night. Not because she asked me to. Because I needed space. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even hurt anymore. I was just done trying to solve an equation that didn't have a solution. Rachel came out of the bedroom around 8, already dressed for brunch with her friends. You okay? She asked, her tone neutral. Yeah. Okay. I'll be back this afternoon. She left. I made coffee, sat down at my laptop, and did something I hadn't done in years. I updated my resume. Not because I was planning to leave her. Not out of spite. But because I realized I'd been so focused on managing her emotions that I'd completely neglected my own life. I'd turned down a promotion 8 months ago because it required more travel, and Rachel said she needed me around more. I'd stopped going to the gym because she felt like I was prioritizing fitness over our relationship. I pulled back from my friends because she didn't like how much time I spent with them. Little by little, I'd made myself smaller to make room for her needs. And I convinced myself that's what love looked like. Over the next few weeks, I made changes. I started going to the gym again, early mornings before work. I reconnected with my old college roommate, Marcus, and we started playing basketball on weekends. I applied for the senior position at a competing firm that had reached out to me months ago. I didn't announce any of this to Rachel. I just did it. And the strangest thing happened. She didn't notice. Or if she did, she didn't say anything. She was too wrapped up in her own world, complaining about work, stressing about the wedding, venting about her friend's drama. I listened when she talked. I nodded. I said supportive things. But I stopped investing my emotional energy into fixing her problems or managing her moods. I stopped trying to anticipate what version of support she needed on any given day. I just showed up, stayed calm, and then went back to focusing on myself. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The shift didn't go unnoticed forever. About a month into my new routine, Rachel confronted me. You've been different lately, she said one night over dinner. Different how? I don't know. Distant. Like you're here, but not really here. I set down my fork. I'm listening when you talk. I'm supportive. What else do you need? It's not about what I need. It's about, you just seem checked out. I'm not checked out. I'm just not trying to fix everything anymore. Isn't that what you wanted? She frowned. You're being weird. Rachel, I'm genuinely trying to understand. You told me to stop trying to solve your problems. So I did. You said you wanted me to just listen. So I am. What am I doing wrong? Nothing. Forget it. But she didn't forget it. Over the next few days, she kept bringing it up in small ways. You didn't ask me about my meeting today. You've been at the gym a lot. You're always on your phone now. The last one was ironic, considering she spent half of every evening scrolling through social media. But I didn't point that out. I'm just working on some stuff, I said. What stuff? Career stuff. I'm applying for a new position. She looked up from her phone. What? Since when? Since a few weeks ago. And you didn't think to tell me? It didn't come up. Her face hardened. We're engaged. We're supposed to talk about these things. You're right. We are. But lately, when I try to talk about what's going on with me, you're either distracted or you turn the conversation back to your own stuff. So I stopped bringing it up. That's not fair. Maybe not. But it's true. She stood up from the table. I can't believe you're doing this. Doing what? Punishing me by shutting me out. I didn't raise my voice. I'm not shutting you out. I'm just not making you the center of my entire world anymore. There's a difference. She stared at me for a long moment, and I could see the gears turning. She wasn't used to this version of me. The one who didn't chase her approval. The one who didn't scramble to fix things the moment she was upset. I think we need to talk, she said quietly. Okay, let's talk. We sat back down, and for the first time in months, I felt like I was entering the conversation as an equal instead of a defendant. I feel like you've changed, she started. I have. Why? I thought about how to answer that. Not to hurt her. Not to win an argument. Just to tell the truth. Because I was exhausted, Rachel. I was trying so hard to be what you needed that I forgot who I was. And I realized that no matter what I did, it was never quite right. So I decided to stop trying to figure out the impossible and just focus on myself. She looked down at her hands. I didn't realize I was making you feel that way. I don't think you meant to. But yeah, that's how I felt. So what now? You're just going to stop caring about us. That's not what I'm doing. I care about us. But I also care about me. And for a long time, I wasn't balancing those things. She was quiet for a while. I don't know if I can be with someone who's emotionally unavailable, she said finally. I let out a short laugh. That's interesting. What's that supposed to mean? It means I spent years trying to be emotionally available to you in every possible way, and it was never enough. Now that I'm setting boundaries and taking care of myself, you're calling me unavailable. Do you see the irony? Her jaw tightened. You're twisting this. I'm not. I'm just pointing out what's actually happening. She stood up again. I need some air. She grabbed her keys and left. I didn't follow her. I didn't text her. I didn't panic. I just sat there, finished my dinner, and cleaned up the kitchen. Then I went to bed. She came back around midnight, crawled into bed beside me, and didn't say a word. We didn't talk about it the next day either. Or the day after that. We just existed in this strange limbo where we were technically together but not really connected. A week later, I got the job offer. Significant raise, better benefits, more responsibility. I accepted it on the spot. When I told Rachel, she barely reacted. That's great, she said flatly. You don't sound excited. I am. I'm just surprised you didn't talk to me before accepting. Would it have mattered? She didn't answer. That weekend, her mom called. She wanted to finalize some wedding details, vendor deposits, guest list confirmations, menu selections. Rachel handed me the phone. Can you deal with this? I have a headache. I took the phone into the other room and spent an hour going through everything with her mom, who was lovely but extremely detail-oriented. When I hung up, I felt a strange sense of detachment. I was planning a wedding that didn't feel like mine anymore. I walked back into the living room where Rachel was watching TV. Your mom wants to know if we've settled on the rehearsal dinner venue. I don't care. You pick. Rachel. What? Do you actually want to get married? She muted the TV. What kind of question is that? An honest one. She looked at me like I'd just insulted her. Of course I want to get married. I've been planning this wedding for months. That's not what I asked. I asked if you want to get married. To me. Not if you want a wedding. Her expression shifted. Defensive. Why are you doing this? Because I need to know if we're on the same page. Because lately it feels like we're just going through the motions. We're fine. Are we? She stood up. You know what your problem is? You overthink everything. We're engaged. We're planning a wedding. We love each other. Why do you need to complicate it? I'm not trying to complicate it. I'm trying to make sure we're building something real. We are real. Then why does it feel like you need me to play a role instead of just being myself? She didn't answer. She grabbed her phone and walked into the bedroom. I stood there in the living room, and for the first time, I let myself think the thought I'd been avoiding for weeks. Maybe this wasn't going to work. That night, I slept on the couch again. Not because we'd fought, but because I needed to think clearly. And I couldn't do that lying next to someone who made me feel like I was constantly failing. The next morning, Rachel came out of the bedroom with her suitcase. I'm going to stay with my sister for a few days, she said. Okay. That's it. Just okay. What do you want me to say? I want you to ask me not to go. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I felt something break inside me. Not my heart. My resolve to keep pretending. Rachel, if you need space, take it. I'm not going to beg you to stay, and I'm not going to chase you. I love you, but I'm not going to twist myself into knots trying to be whoever you need me to be on any given day. Her eyes filled with tears. So that's it. You're just giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm just being honest. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep feeling like I'm wrong no matter what I do. She wiped her eyes. You've really changed. Yeah, I have. She picked up her suitcase and walked out. I didn't stop her. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the silence of our apartment and felt the weight of 4 years lift off my shoulders. She was gone for 5 days. In that time, I didn't call her. I didn't text. I didn't check her social media. I went to work, hit the gym, hung out with Marcus, and slept better than I had in months. On the 6th day, she came back. She looked tired. Can we talk? She asked. Of course. We sat down at the kitchen table, the same place we'd had a dozen arguments and 0 resolutions. I did a lot of thinking, she said, and I talked to my therapist. I didn't know she was seeing a therapist. That stung a little, but I didn't interrupt. She helped me realize some things. About how I communicate. About what I expect from you. And about how unfair I've been. I stayed quiet. I think I've been asking you to be this perfect support system without giving you the same thing back. And when you started pulling back, I panicked because I realized how much I was depending on you to manage my emotions." She took a breath. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." I nodded slowly. "I appreciate that. Do you think we can fix this?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "I think we can try. But things need to change. I need to be able to have my own life, my own opinions, my own boundaries. And I need you to respect those things without making me feel guilty. I can do that. And I need you to meet me halfway. I can't be the only one working on this relationship." I know. We talked for hours that night. About what we both needed. About how we'd gotten so far off track. About whether we actually wanted the same future. Some of it was hard to hear. Some of it was a relief to finally say out loud. By the time we were done, it was past midnight. "So where does this leave us?" she asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. "But I think we need to postpone the wedding." She flinched. "Postpone it?" "Yeah, we're not ready. We have things to work through first. And I don't want to get married just because we've already sent the invitations." She was quiet for a long time. Then she nodded. Okay. Yeah, you're right. We're not ready." It wasn't the answer I expected, but it was the one I needed. We postponed the wedding. Her mom was disappointed, but she understood. Some of our friends asked questions. We gave them the simple version. We needed more time. Over the next few months, we went to couples therapy. It helped. Not because it fixed everything overnight, but because it gave us tools to communicate without falling into the same destructive patterns. I kept my new job, my gym routine, my friendships. Rachel started setting better boundaries at work and eventually left her toxic job for a position at a startup where she was actually valued. She stopped expecting me to read her mind. I stopped shutting down when things got hard. We learned to fight fair, to own our mistakes, to show up for each other without losing ourselves in the process. It wasn't perfect. Some days were still hard, but it was real, and that mattered more than perfect. 6 months after we postponed the wedding, we were having dinner at our favorite restaurant. Rachel reached across the table and took my hand. "I know we still have work to do," she said, "but I'm really glad we didn't give up." "Me too. Do you think we'll reschedule the wedding?" I smiled. "Maybe. When we're ready." "And when will that be?" "When it feels right. Not because we're supposed to. Not because everyone's expecting it. But because we actually want to build a life together." She squeezed my hand. "I love you. I love you too." And for the first time in a long time, I meant it without reservation. We didn't reschedule the wedding that year, or the year after. We just kept working on ourselves and on us. We moved to a new apartment, one that felt like a fresh start. We traveled together, learned new things about each other, figured out how to be partners instead of adversaries. Some of our friends thought we were crazy for staying together after everything. Others thought we were crazy for not just getting married already. But we stopped caring what other people thought. This was our relationship, our timeline, our life, and we were finally building it on our terms. I still think about those early days sometimes, when I was so desperate to make her happy that I forgot about my own happiness. When I thought love meant sacrificing everything. When I believed that if I just tried hard enough, I could make it work through sheer force of will. I was wrong. Love isn't about making yourself smaller. It's not about reading someone's mind or performing the right version of support on command. It's about showing up as yourself and finding someone who meets you there. Someone who values your peace as much as you value theirs. Someone who doesn't need you to lose yourself for them to feel loved. It took me almost losing everything to learn that. But I learned it. And that made all the difference. These days, I don't overthink every word. I don't walk on eggshells. I don't carry the weight of someone else's emotional regulation on my shoulders. I just show up. Honest. Whole. Enough. And for the first time in my adult life, that actually feels like enough. Rachel and I are still together. We're still not married. Maybe we will be someday. Maybe we won't. But we're happy. Really happy. Not the performative kind of happy you post on social media. The quiet kind that lives in lazy Sunday mornings and inside jokes and knowing someone sees you, really sees you, and chooses you anyway. That's the kind of love worth fighting for. Not the kind that demands you lose yourself, but the kind that helps you find yourself, and then chooses to walk beside you. That's what peace looks like. And I'm never giving it up again.